The morning does not start with coffee, but with the calculation of the remaining body parts in the body. This is how the most ordinary day of a guy named Denji begins. The main character is far from being in a simple position in his life. The fact is that at his relatively young age, he has to pay huge monetary debts. But Denji is not very educated, and therefore he has to earn money for living and repaying debts on any adventure from selling his own body parts to the standard felling of trees. However, in addition to the usual work, Denji has the opportunity to participate in a large hunt, not on any animals for the sake of obtaining meat or expensive skins. The main character participates in the most real battles with demons. The world where Denji lives is amazing and scary. Demons, entities that instill a sense of anxiety in people. Just add to this reality all this charm of danger, to be destroyed by some kind of monster. Fortunately, people are not powerless against demonic creatures. Some individuals are quite capable of fighting, and Denji is one of them. He, with his living and named saw Pochita, does an excellent job with various demons, and for the destruction of creatures the main character receives a reward in the form of large sums of money. However, due to his large debt, he is left with pennies for bread, and all the rest of the money goes to the yakuza, who sometimes mock the poor guy. For example, for 100 yen they offer to eat a cigarette, and Denji fulfills any whim of the owners. Yet Denji has some cunning. The only pity is that no agility in actions saves the boy from poverty. Denji has accumulated so many problems and debts that there is no joy left in his life. But in the kennel where Denji spends his free time, a ray of light still seeps through. Pochita, an interesting live saw demon, whom the main character met literally at the funeral of his father, became Denji's best friend. Pochita and the guy are united by a similar fate. They were both one step away from leaving for another world, and both were saved by a happy accident. If it were not for Denji, then the cute saw demon died due to blood loss, and if it were not for Pochita, then Denji would not be able to work as a hunter. So we can assume that the funeral of Denji's father became such a reference point for the guy. On that day, he lost his family and gained an amazing comrade. With him, Denji does not feel alone. At least some warmth warms his sick body. At night, Denji dreams about the ordinary daily life of any person, because his life is not as joyful as that of many people in this city. The next day, the yakuza gave another task to his subordinate, where Denji fell into a completely disgusting trap. The zombie demon, having recruited a considerable number of various people, including Denji's chief, brought the guy with Pochita to his lair to join the zombie army. However, Denji tries to leave the battlefield, but after a couple of moments, he and Pochita were surrounded and successfully destroyed. The last thing Denji sees is Pochita's adorable face giving his farewell speech. Denji's friend wants to see the guy's future life, and for this, the saw, using the power of obsession, inhabits the main character, thereby saving his life. Denji is pieced together, connected with chainsaw wires, and reborn. From now on, he is no longer a man, but also not a demon. Denji has become a possessed person with the power of a chainsaw. And thanks to this weapon, Denji destroys the zombie army and finishes off the boss with the most beautiful technique. Men in black, led by a girl named Makima, approach the place. She approaches Denji from the doorway and immediately intoxicates the protagonist's mind with her appearance and the offer of breakfast with delicious food. However, if Denji refuses, he will be destroyed, and if he agrees, he will become her own pet, so Denji agrees. Though he doesn't enjoy being anyone's slave, Denji used to be treated like a dirty pig, and Makima is about to fulfill his dream of becoming a human being with an ordinary life where there is food and clothes. Denji is soon assigned to work in the ranks of the Public Security Bureau. Engaged in the destruction and search for demons, they are also called demon hunters. However, Denji will not be working alone. He is joined by Makima's best confidant, another guy named Aki Hayakawa. From the very beginning, they did not get along, and therefore, in a dark alley, they decided to sort things out. From the battle, it turned out that Aki takes the activities of hunters extremely seriously. Hunters are often killed on missions, especially those who dream of quick money, popularity with civilians, or an easy romantic relationship with one of the bureau workers. According to Aki, such fools do not deserve respect in the work of hunters. Denji does not agree with Hayakawa, since for most simple things are part of everyday life. But for Denji, it is a direct goal. He does not care about the opinion of Aki, who looks down on the main character. It is also ironic that these two opposites, by order of Makima, will have to live together. And it for Denji, this is clearly great. Then for Aki, this is not entirely good news. Living with a person who has not seen a toilet before is difficult. Fortunately, the guys will not stay at home for a long time. The work of the hunter makes them move. And dressed in uniform, the two friends wandered off to fulfill the order to eliminate the demon, awaiting its fate in a small apartment. The target of the hunters is a possessed person. But don't worry about the difficulty. The possessed on the mission will not be as strong as Denji, since according to the rules there are not only different demons, but also different types of possessed. Those who enter into a contract with a monster and change in appearance, and those who, like Denji, master the ability of a demon, but do not change in the face. The first type is much weaker and more popular, and with such it is quite possible to cope even with your hands. But Aki was not satisfied with such disruption, and the workers again had a conflict. Aki sees how Denji takes his job lightly, while other employees are afraid and sacrifice their lives every day. The protagonist ends the fight with one stroke and picks up the magazines. Hayakawa doesn't understand his partner at all. And in addition to this difficult relationship, Makima adds a new member of the group, a girl with a crazy look and inexhaustible energy named Power. The second obsessed enters the company of the guys, and it turns out that Aki became the head of the group, in which two participants need supervision and control at once, because of which he is given full right over their lives. That is, the obsessed must follow absolutely all orders. The first task from Aki was patrolling. Nothing special, you just need to walk around the city and look for random demons in a particular area to neutralize them. Escape from a mission, disobedience to an order, going beyond any limits. This is a departure to another world for the possessed. And it's funny that knowing about the consequences, Denji and Power still violated the boundaries of the order in the first task and followed the demon to another region. And although the thought was sound, the destruction of the demon, the power that Power released made it disturb everyone around. The power of Power lies in the control of the body's own fluid. The possessed is capable of creating red objects with incredible impact power, and this magic of hers has battered a quiet, peaceful area. Of course, the management of the act is not happy. In a good way, Makima should transfer the possessed to the hands of justice, but for the first time, their mistake will be written off to a special detachment. Power successfully does not receive a reprimand. This has also become a good reason for a closer acquaintance of the possessed. During the night, Denji struck up a pleasant conversation with Power. A conversation between two obsessed, two similar people with a difficult past, and with the same dream to live the life of an ordinary person. However, Power wants to save his pet, a cat named Nyoko, and therefore she began to obey Makima. The cute animal became Power's first friend, just as Denji once had Pochita. In a conversation, Power made a tempting offer to Denji. If he helps save the cat, then the girl will allow her to touch her upper limbs. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Makima reports to important people. The elderly strictly listen to the girl. The report is about the recently assembled special squad of the Taken, because the management is nervous about the safety of others, since Denji and Power were hired to work in the squad. But Makima assures that the situation is under control and the credibility of the possessed has not been violated. After finishing the report and getting into the car to Aki, the girl plunged into thoughts. Does she really trust the demons? She turned to the driver with this question. True, Aki did not give a positive view of the situation. With the possessed being actively monitored, Power and Denji take a critical step. As already agreed, for saving the cat Power, which is kept in submission to another demon, she will give our main character a significant prize in the form of herself. And having lost his vigilance, Denji did not notice how, for the second time in his life, he fell into a funny trap that led the main character to a large demon, the Devil Mouse. Power cooperated with him to feed any human body to a mouse as food and a filler of strength. Yet demons, when drinking human fluid, are capable of recovering from wounds, loss of limbs, and the rest of the body's function. Well, Power did not take into account that Denji is only half a man. He is possessed, so the guy's liquid is not tasty for the Devil Mouse, but she gave regeneration. And since the mouse has recovered, then the Power demon no longer needs anything, so he is allowed to violate the agreement by eating the cat in front of the hostess. Having lost Mioi, the girl also lost the meaning of life, because the cat was always her psychological support. However, during a little mourning for the cat, the mouse demon eats power as well to gain strength and fly to the city. And then there was trouble with the flight for the mouse. Denji got up from his knees, climbed onto the demon, and started the battle with the freak right in the city among the people. The massacre abruptly turns into an active phase, where there is a lot of dust and explosions. And Denji, in all this bacchanalia in the form of a chainsaw, is also trying to save civilians, using unimaginable muscle strength for protection. Although Denji does not appear to be athletic, his demonic gift of Pochita creates brain-damaging combinations of attacks in the protagonist that lead the chainsaw to victory over the flying degenerate. And also, having destroyed the monster, Denji released the still undigested Mioi and power. Not having time to rest from one battle, a new demon fell upon the main character at the same second, a leech with a vile look. She decided to leave Denji alone, because power and the cat are her targets. The leech also wants to eat, and this pair is enough for her to satisfy her hunger. However, Denji is not going to run away, because power promised him a prize, but it is not comfortable to fight the leech without the proper amount of fluid in the body. The leech is now much stronger, while the chainsaw draws its strength from the state of its own body. How much fluid is spinning in the main character? So much strength does he have? Looking at the tired Denji, it is not difficult to guess that the guy has little stamina. The fight with the leech is the first in the career of the protagonist, when leaving for another world is almost over his shoulder. Only endless anger and the fulfillment of a dream drives Denji's body. However, when Denji was almost out of strength, help arrived at the squad in time. Aki and his subordinate demon fox appeared on the horizon and destroyed the vile leech. The next day, Denji wakes up in the hospital almost healthy but hungry. On the table are apples prepared by Aki, which he himself would be glad to eat. Although Aki is not going to give away goodies so easily, and therefore decides to negotiate with Denji. Aki is aware that both possessed have already violated the patrol in their area. For the second time, they allowed themselves to cause a city panic. If Hayakawa hadn't been trusting the demons before, didn't say any positive word about them, then for violation he will try to attract Denji and power to all illegal cases, because of which they can be expelled or destroyed. But Aki is not so cruel. He offered Denji a more comfortable relationship. If Aki gives an order, then Denji will carry it out. For complete submission, he will no doubt remove charges from them before Makima and protect them from reprisal. In a conversation with Makima, the question arose about the girl. Hayakawa was asked about his softness towards demons. Did a person really change his face so quickly because of simply living with the cheerful Denji? Although the answer to this question was obvious, Aki, deep down, is really not so detached from his annoying Denji. And if the relations of the young have improved, then why not put a third roommate in a small apartment with the guys? Power herself. Hayakawa was given 2 subordinates in one house, but he could not refuse because he is Makima's most trusted person. We'll have to share the apartment even more and clean up the trash even more often. And if, by a miracle, Hayakawa managed to train the main character, the guy at least flushes after himself in the toilet. Then with power you have to learn everything from scratch. Well, the girl doesn't care about most human everyday decency. She is more drawn to the fulfillment of the contract between her and Denji. She didn't forget the promise. And for saving power will allow the main character to touch her glorious body 3 times. The gift was not just cool, he even stopped breathing. Hands reach for the treasured fruits. Another particle of a common dream will be in the pocket of the protagonist. The first touch happened, but the lining fell out from under the girl's t-shirt. Power explained this by saying that this is a favorite tool for girls, helping to reach a new level of beauty for men. Having learned the real size of power, Denji was disappointed, and 3 touches ended in depression. With the same success, he could touch any other plane, but here he risked his life for these times. And the main character realized that the world is a smooth surface of disappointments. Makima saw her employee in terrible shape and wanted to ask what happened to her subordinate. Denji gives a clear answer and explains the situation. The protagonist spent the first attempt in life on something that is not clear, and even if a dream can be replaced with linings, then what else needs to be prepared for? And Makima, having figured out Denji's mental state, decides to bring him back from depression. With soft touches and gentle words, she conveys a very important idea to the protagonist. A feeling of satisfaction or those same emotions from touching comes only from a person with whom there is a connection of true understanding. Connected people have access to such streams of feelings that can be enough for a lifetime. And Denji has had such a connection with Makima since their first meeting. Makima herself also knows about this and continues to manipulate Denji's desires. She sees that the guy likes her, and he is ready to go to great lengths for approval. Then the girl switched back to the mode of operation because there is a dangerous mission for the chainsaw. It is required to eliminate the firearm demon that made a sensation throughout Japan, which destroyed hundreds or thousands of people 13 years ago. Many were left orphans and became hunters out of a desire to destroy this demon. Denji not only knows one of these hunters, he lives with him. Aki lost his entire family 13 years ago and now serves in the bureau with the hope of tracking down and destroying the firearm. But Makima had already seen many with a similar desire, and most went to another world and laid down their lives on weaker demons. But with Denji, the situation is able to go in a winning direction. In turn, Makima makes another tempting offer for Denji. If he finds and destroys the firearm, then Makima will be ready to fulfill any desire of the guy. These words strongly motivated Denji, and therefore he decided to defeat the firearm demon by any means. If you want to continue, then write about it in the comments. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, like and press the bell so as not to miss new videos. AniMap was with you. Bye everyone.